Our short journey with beekeeping has been a little bumpy. No bees, no honey, no bees, no honey. Oh my goodness! Looks like this one's a fail too. Since 2 of my hives disappeared last year, I really want to catch some swarms because the swarm I caught last year was the one that made it through the winter. I've got a couple beekeeping mentors that are helping me out as I go along, so hopefully as I learn from them, you can too, and hopefully you can also learn from my mistakes. Last year, I bought 1 nuke box of bees and I caught 1 swarm, and what happened was pretty interesting. The bees that I bought grew really fast, and they grew so big they were filling up the hive that I decided to split it. So I split that hive, but the ones that I split ended up just totally disappearing. I don't know what happened, if they all died, just went away, I don't know what happened. But the ones that I caught as a swarm did really, really well, and they're out there hopefully making honey right now, and I'm gonna go check them in a little bit. But before I go check them, I wanna get my swarm traps all set up and actually put out because it is swarm season. Basically what this is a mini hive, and what's so cool about catching swarms is they're free. I got these slow release tubes from Horizontal Hive. It's just a little plastic tube that I'm gonna put some lemongrass oil in. One of these swarm traps is gonna go on our property. I'm gonna put it in our back pasture. So that's kinda just in case my bees decide to swarm, and then hopefully they'll find this place. And then another one is gonna go at my in-laws place, and that's where I caught my swarm last year. So hoping for another one this year. Let's go down to Woodpecker Hollow, what we call our bee yard, and get a couple frames with some beeswax on it. That one will be a good one. One nice one in each of those traps. I think that would be good. So I didn't actually get around to making my honey mead yet. I got all the supplies for it and I really want to do it. I'm not going to be making it with our own honey for the first time unless we get a whole bunch this year before I actually start making it, but I'm going to use some store-bought honey for that. Some of these in here that's got some stuff started. That'll be good for them. Gonna need this to get it up in the tree. This right here is the tree we're going in. This is in our back pasture. I tried to get this thing strapped up to the tree and it just wasn't working out. I got really frustrated. I ended up going back to my barn and making a bracket that I could screw onto the tree and then just clip this thing on there. But it ended up taking a while, so I was in a hurry, didn't get it on video. It also got so late that I didn't have time to check on my hive. But a few days later, I went and checked on the swarm trap that's at my dad's place. This swarm trap right here, I didn't even get baited this year. I can see some bees up there, so it looks like I've got me another colony. Yes! So I waited until the next evening to go to get that hive to bring it home. It's starting to get dark out here, but that's what we want because we want the bees to all be back in the swarm trap. I'm gonna head over to my dad's place and get that thing, bring it over here and put it with the hives. That one never got a door over the opening, so I'm gonna screw one of these onto the outside so the bees can't get out while I'm moving them. It might be just a little tricky getting that thing down from that tree, especially now that it's like dark. Don't wanna bump anything or drop it or nothing with all those bees in there. I can see bees right at the opening, so I'm gonna have to be really careful putting this guard at the front. Don't wanna bother them and make them come out, but it's late enough that I think it should be all right. So that thing's got like this little indented thing that's supposed to be sticking out, and I stuck it against there, but I'm definitely not taking it back off. Those bees are right there buzzing right at the opening. This thing was heavy, but it was definitely a whole lot easier getting this one down than trying to put the other one up. Overall, that didn't go too bad. I can hear them buzzing around in there, but nothing dropped, no bees got out. Now it's time to take them home. I'm so excited about this. Free bees! So I'm gonna set this swarm trap on top of the hive that they're gonna be moved into, and I'm gonna leave them closed up for the night with just vented, and then tomorrow morning I'll come out here and open it and let them fly around throughout the day, gather nectar or whatever, and then tomorrow afternoon I'm gonna move the frames out of this swarm trap into this hive and they'll be home. It's a perfectly beautiful, gorgeous day today to move those bees from the swarm trap into their hive. I am a little bit anxious about it because who knows what's gonna be in there. If I can find a queen, if there's very many bees, I just have no idea. The other thing that I'm a little bit apprehensive about is the other hive. Last night, when I came out here to put the swarm trap down here, there was some bearding on the front, so I really need to check that other hive and see if possibly they're getting ready to swarm. Which in one way could be a good thing because then I can split the hive and get 2 hives out of it. But on the other hand, I did that last year and then they disappeared. So I'm a little bit gun shy about it. I could be using smoke because, you know, that might help. But from my little experience with beekeeping, the smoke didn't really ever seem to help that much. If they got mad, they were just mad and the smoke didn't make much difference. So I'm gonna try this without smoke. I want to sweep this out a little bit. It's a little dirty down in there. And then we'll start pulling frames out of the trap and putting it in here. There's the queen bee. That is a sweet find right there. They've got some nice comb build on there. Hey, there's some larvae in there and there's some nectar. So this one was one that already had comb on it that I put in there to attract the bees. That's got some capped brood right there. Another frame with some started comb on it. That's got pollen on this side. So I've got 5 frames that I got out of that swarm trap. And now I'm gonna put some frames in there that have some comb already built, give them a good start, and then put some empty frames on the outside of that and just let them go to town, make them some comb. So in one of our last videos, we talked about like what it takes to be self-sufficient on our homestead. Bees is one of those things that like, I don't see as being necessary to be self-sufficient or to have a homestead or whatever, but it's one of those things that I really wanted to do, partially just for the fun of it, the cool factor of it, but also because it is another way to be self-sufficient. It is a way that we can have our own sweetener to be making stuff on our homestead. And the more different things that we can do like that, I'd say the better. That keeps us out of the grocery store more often and makes us more reliant on what we're doing ourselves and not as reliant on the world around us. Now to this hive. This is the one that I'm most apprehensive about just because I'm not sure what I'm gonna find when I get in there, if it's gonna look like I'm gonna need to split them. Like I said, I'm a little nervous about doing that. So I've got a piece of plywood in here that was blocking it off. That was for the winter and I forgot that I had that in there. This should have been full of empty frames so they have more room to grow. So maybe if I give them that space, they'll be more content. I don't think I'll need to split them then. I'm gonna be really keeping my eyes out for queen cells. I went through all of the frames in this hive and I found something that made me a little nervous. That right there looks like a queen cell. It's empty, there's nothing in there, so I'm not exactly sure what to do about it. I'm afraid that the others are gonna swarm because I found a number of queen cells or swarm cells in there. So I talked to my buddy and asked him what he would do. And being it's this time of year, I think it would be a good time to do a split if I'm gonna do it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back through there. I'm gonna have to try to find the queen because I never found the queen in that hive and split that hive. Didn't work so great last time, but I did it later in the year, so maybe it'll work this time. So I went through all of the frames in that hive and I could not find the queen bee. I really don't know what to do now. This can kind of drive me nuts sometimes doing this beekeeping thing. I love it, but I really don't know what I'm doing and I'm learning and as I go, and that can be a struggle. So I'm a little bit discouraged with this. I don't really know what to do next. I'm waiting for a call back from my other beekeeping buddy, try to figure out what to do. Maybe I can just move the swarm cells to the new hive instead of moving the queen. Otherwise, the other option is just to let them go the way they are and maybe they will swarm and I'll be able to catch that swarm because I do have a swarm trap set up on my property. That might work too, so I don't know.